So the Pacers close out the Wizards. This game was not nearly as interesting. The Pacers did what, I can't say I was surprised. I thought they'd do this maybe in Game 7, but they did it in Game 6. The Wizards go 0-3 at home in this series. They went 1-1 at home in the first series, so they're 1-4 at home in the playoffs after going 22-19, so they end 23-23 at home. They have no home court advantage at all. And it showed. I mean, the crowd tried to get into it, but they seemed to play tight. The Pacers do that. The Pacers are really good. Like, it's not an accident. The Pacers managed to look so bad at times.
The Wizards went 5-1 on the road, which is unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. So you'd like to think, my God, if we were a normal home team and did that on the road, this is a potential championship team. And that's why I don't think. First, let's praise the Pacers, because we might not like the way they play, but they mess teams up. Like, the Wizards were tight and young, and you talked about some of the air balls or close to air balls that the Clippers shot up at the end of games. There is something about late games of big series. I mean, the Wizards missed some threes that clearly indicated to me of some degree of tightness from players. They were nervous, they were rushing, they were panicked. Martell Webster took a hideous three. Bradley Beal on an open three was like 3 feet short at the end of the game once, and those are good shooters. We saw it in the Clipper game. But the Pacers have a way of making you look incompetent on offense. After Beal hit an open three to bring the Wizards all the way back, they'd been down 16 in the third quarter. They were up 74-73. I think there was like 7.5 minutes to play. They basically didn't score again except for one bucket until the game was decided. By the time they added points at the end of the game, it was over. They were down 13. And the one bucket they got was on a great feed from Wall to Gortat, and Gortat got the shot blocked from behind, and it still went in. So their bucket was the Pacers mess you up and they challenge everything. And for that, while you may be annoyed with how they play, they deserve credit.
Yes, I largely agree with you, but I think what that game showed me, especially after Beal's shot put them ahead by 1, was a team that was young and still very much immature, because after that, I felt like they kind of felt that they had done what they could. They came back, took the lead, but they weren't mature enough to say, well, now we have to finish the game. Yeah. And after that, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but their body language, their effort, it declined, because, coming back from 16 points is tough. They did it. So it's like a small measure of moral victory, and they just didn't have the resolve to take it all away.
As soon as they got down 5, as soon as they were down, they got down, the Pacers scored the next 6 points. It was 79-74. Then Gortat hit that shot to make it 79-76, and then that was
pretty much it.
And then 80, and as soon as they got down 5 again, when they were down 81, it was like they were like, we're down 5 and there's 5 minutes to play, and they completely panicked, and they didn't need to. But the Pacers are better than they are right now. There's no question.
They're better, but you know what? I think.
And David West.
I'm not a Wizards fan. I know you are. Yeah. But if I'm a Wizards fan, I'm ecstatic for the future.
No, I am.
Yeah. That's a dynamic team. On the radio today, I heard Sam Mitchell say this, which I think is a great point. He said that coaches always tell players, hey, you have to improve this, you have to improve that. A lot of times it's in one year, out the other. The only way to really improve is to make the playoffs as a young player and have your weaknesses exposed on national television. Because that makes you feel like, oh my God, my coach is right, I have to work on this. And he said that's why it's very important for young teams to make the playoffs, because that's where you learn.
And the Wizards didn't just make the playoffs, they won a series and they competed like hell in another series. So yeah, I agree, and I saw enough Wizards games this year to see that John Wall can be one of the 10 best players in the league. This series against the Pacers, he did not play like one of the 10 best players in the league. He had moments, but they weren't consistent. Yeah. A consistent John Wall who can be, I think, 95% of what Chris Paul is. Like, he's capable of being a great, great player. He gets to that level, they don't even really need to add much to move up one level. They add another scorer because it is going to be hard for them to score with just jump shooters. They add because Trevor Ariza, who can be such a great, but if you're closing out on him on threes, he can't really go to the hole. So they could use somebody who can go to the hole. They could use Jamal Crawford. They could use a player like that. But if they don't have, and if they add that and Wall gets better, they won 44 games in a somewhat weakened East. They could win 54, they could win 55, and then they're instantly contenders to be the Eastern Conference champions. And that could be next year. I don't think I'm being overly optimistic. A couple of small ticks.
Agreed.
If they get better and get some health breaks, re-signed Gortat, who proved that he's a guy you want to have on your team.
Polish Hammer.
The Polish Hammer. So and there's no, like, the way the fans applauded, it took me, I was over that in a second. I was like, that was fun. I can't wait for next year. That was exciting. It's the first time we've been really excited about a season in Washington in forever.